Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. So I got back from my doctor's appointment, and I saw that John Collins got traded from the Atlanta Hawks, and they finally did it, man. I'm just gonna call it what it is. I think they really wanted to get a lot more than what they got for John Collins. But this seems like a salary cap dump. Like, that's all this is for Atlanta. They ended up getting Rudy Gay and a future second round pick for John Collins, which seems like pennies on the dollar for John Collins. But I will say this, Atlanta, it was in a very tight spot. John Collins shot the three-point ball, the worst of his career this past season, and you know, he's been regressing ever since, like, the contract. Like, when he was 22, the 2019-2020 season, he was averaging like 21 points a game and 10 rebounds, and that was fairly solid. I mean, he actually, like, 2019-2020 was easily, I think, like, the best year of his career. He shot 58% from the field, 40% from three, 80% from the free throw line, on 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks a game. And then he just kept regressing, it seemed. And, you know, like, he only played 54 games, not this past year, but the year prior. He played 63 games the year before that, and then 41 games in 2019-2020, which was arguably his best season ever. And this past season, he played 71 games. But he shot 50% from the field, which his field goal percentage went down. His three-point percentage went down to 29%. Still shot the free throw pretty solid at 80%. And he averaged 13 points a game, 1 block, and 6.5 rebounds a game on, like, 1 assist. So, I'm just going to say this. I don't necessarily think this is John Collins' fault. I get why Atlanta gave John Collins the extension, because they couldn't let him walk for nothing. But the thing is, they practically let him walk for nothing. Like, they traded him for Rudy Gay and a future second-round pick. Like, they might as well have just let him walk in free agency. And the whole reason they did this is because, well, they got to bring back DeJounte Murray at some point. You know, like, they just traded for DeJounte Murray. They basically had to get off John Collins' contract in order to, A, re-sign DeJounte Murray if they want to, and B, they would just be paying an ass ton of money in luxury tax for a team that's not a championship contending team. I hate to say that, but, like, we're just going to call a spade a spade. Like, the Atlanta Hawks are not a championship team. And they have Trae Young, who's on, like, a super max deal, essentially, almost. Like, he's got a max contract. DeJounte Murray has a max contract, if I'm correct. They paid DeAndre Hunter, and they had John Collins, who they gave a max deal to. So, like, they basically had to get off him in order to avoid, you know, all the new CBA rules that are coming up and stuff like that. Like, They were paying a whole ass ton of money in luxury tax for a team that wasn't even really making the playoffs, like, struggling to make the playoffs. I don't even think they made the playoffs this past season. So it's just the idea, like, I understand why they did it. Like, okay, Atlanta was the 8th seed. Never mind. They did make the playoffs. I lied. But it's just the idea, like, they needed to get off this contract. And the other part of this is also very interesting to me, because, like, Atlanta got themselves John Collins, and he's a really solid player. Like, I think given the opportunity, he could be a whole hell of a lot better than he was last year. I mean, you got to think, like, John Collins is sharing shots with Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, and they're pretty much the only guys on that team shooting the fucking basketball. Like, he's on a team where he's not the focal point of the offense. He would like to be included in the offense. I would argue he's going to a situation in Utah where he's not going to be the focus of the offense either. But it's just the idea, like, Utah got themselves a decent player for essentially a guy who's going to be retiring soon and a future second-round pick. So definitely a salary cap dump for Atlanta. Utah, the situation becomes very interesting because they have Colin Sexton, Ochai Agbaji, who is criminally fucking underrated for how well he played last year. And now they're going to have a lineup of, like, Lauri Markkanen, John Collins, and Walker Kessler in their front court. And they just drafted Taylor Hendricks, who I would argue Taylor Hendricks is a starter on that team if they don't trade for John Collins. But obviously they're going to start Collins, they're going to start Markkanen, and they're going to start Walker Kessler. They basically have to. And Taylor Hendricks is going to come off the bench for them and be really, really damn good. Like, honestly, with the way it's set up now, like, Taylor Hendricks is probably going to be their sixth man for a while. And that's not a bad thing. And there's a chance, like, I really think Taylor Hendricks is going to be a very, very good player. Like, Paul George level good. Like, he is a very, very impressive. And I actually wanted the Pacers to take him in the draft. They ended up taking Jarris Walker, and I'm not mad about it, but Taylor Hendricks is a guy who has a lot of potential, and he's going to be, I think, the main guy for the second unit over there. So it's a good thing. I'm curious as to what they're going to do at the shooting guard position. Is Ochai Agbaji going to start at the 2? Is Taylor Hendricks going to start at the 2? That's really what I'm wondering here, because, like, if they start Taylor Hendricks at the 2, you're talking, like, a starting 5 with an average height of like 6'7" and above. Okay, like, yeah, Colin Sexton isn't exactly the tallest guy in the room at like 6'1", 6 foot. But you know, you have a shooting guard who's 6'8" in Taylor Hendricks if you want to put him there. Lauri Markkanen is like what, 6'10", 6'11". John Collins is like 6'8", and you also got Walker Kessler, who's a 7-footer. So like, they definitely added some height to their loss. Hold on. How tall is John Collins? He's 6'9". So like, yeah, their lineup's gonna be fucking ridiculous. I don't see John Collins playing the 2. I just don't think, or the 2. I don't see John Collins playing the 3. I simply don't think he has the ball handling to play the 3. But Lauri Markkanen's a guy that I could see playing the 3. So very, very interesting trade for both teams. I'm a little shocked, like, Utah got him. I'm a little shocked no other team really went out there and got John Collins. And I feel like a big reason for that was because of the contract. I feel like Utah was one of the only teams that could afford him. I'm a little shocked, like, teams like Oklahoma City didn't get involved in this. Even San Antonio, they have Keldon Johnson, you know, they have Devin Vassell, they just drafted Wemby. But I'm a little shocked they didn't exactly get involved because they had the cap space. Pacers fans wanted to be involved in this, but after we drafted Jarris Walker, I think that kind of went out of the that went out with the draft pick of Jarris Walker. And honestly, as a Pacers fan myself, I didn't want John Collins. Like, I think he gets paid a whole shit ton of money, and I don't think he's a great defender. And really what we need is defense, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know a lot of Pacers fans, like, want us to sign Kyle Kuzma and so on and so forth, but this is, like, our team lacks defense desperately. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need as much defense as we can get. And I feel like drafting Jarris Walker is not only a cheaper option, but a better defensive option than John Collins. So, I don't know, man. We'll have to see how it plays out. I understand Pacers fans are upset about this because they're like, oh, well, all we needed to give up was, you know, yada, yada, yada for him. But the fact of the matter is, man, like, his contract is worth more than the production he provides at the moment. Do I think he's going to live up to that contract in Utah? I have no idea. There's a possibility he does, but do I think John Collins going to be the number one option there in Utah? Absolutely not. I think Colin Sexton and Markkanen and, like, those two guys are easily going to get more shots than John Collins will. John Collins is going to be a nice addition for them, but, you know, like, it's kind of even a weird fit at the moment because I'm like, okay, well, like, you know, Lauri Markkanen is very good, but John Collins is a guy who has a tendency to just hang out on the three-point line. So, I don't know, man. We'll have to see how. I think Will Hardy is the name of the Utah Jazz's coach, former San Antonio Spurs assistant, but we're going to have to see how he plans to use John Collins. Just because, yeah, it's Will Hardy. Because I really don't know how this is going to work. Like, I'm pretty positive they're going to play Markkanen at the 3, and they're going to put John Collins at the 4 and Walker Kessler at the 5. So, tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. And I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.